welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition, to another installment of Hashtag Fade to Black. I am your host, Dante Alamonte Morris, and then we got the late bloomers, Seep Away, and then we got Beast Johnson, who came at the nick of time, but then Mr. On Time himself, and a big welcome back. Mr. O, how you doing?
I did Kankwe.
The four horsemen of the revolution are here.
Yes, even though we are missing, Teach. Hopefully she's doing okay. She's doing all right. And I finally found out who this Facebook user is. It's my boy, Mr. Too Smooth Water, with his crazy self. But Mr. O, we missed you.
Yes,
Missed
I too miss you, but I was seeing your messages while I was lecturing. I told you we are three in the team of professor, but the person who knows uh, what the subject is myself. So I just cannot dodge it, and I have to lecture. I have to
you.
lecture.
Gotcha.
So that is. Well, it's an all-white university. We are only two Africans, one from Senegal who's a researcher, but I'm the one who really lectures engineering. And in the team that we have, I'm the one who, I'm the columnar vertebral of the team. So there's no way of dodging. Even if I'm sick, I have to lecture.
Hey, Mr. O.
Damn.
Seep Away, how you doing, man? I know I got your message. We all saw your message about your son. I know he felt empowered that he made it crumble over here in Washington.
Yeah, I mean, I asked him what he remembered from the show. It was the most important thing. He said, "Dad, I made it thunder." So
That's all he need to remember. I got that power.
I got that power.
Right?
Right.
Oh my
So
goodness. But what about you, Beast Johnson? You just sit back there in the cut. You ain't slapped nobody or intimidate nobody yet.
Nah. I'm in a better place right now. So the beast is happy. The beast. There's no need for savagery. It's all civility right now. I'm gonna chill right now.
Well, I just got breaking news for y'all. I'm bringing on my boy Too Smooth Wooder. Yeah.
Come
I'm having my
on.
boy Too Smooth Wooder come on the show a little bit later. So hopefully, if he's still watching, I'm gonna have you on just a little bit later. But let's go on ahead to the best part of the show. Not the greatest part, but the best part of the show. It's with our opening statements. And I think it's only right that we let Mr. O take the lead on this one.
Yes, good evening. On last Saturday, there was an election for a state governor in Nigeria, and the results made me proud. There's going to be another in October. If the same result shows, it means Nigeria has started to wake up. And I now can believe in democracy. I told Nigerians on Facebook, democracy is the only system that can rectify itself. So let it be to Nigeria. And if Nigeria wakes up, it will wake up all blacks in diasporas as it used to be in the 70s. So I cross my fingers for Nigeria to wake up. And a lot of things I've been listening to tells me that Nigeria will wake up and start up again to champion the black cause all over the world. That's my opening statement.
okay, I'm gonna follow up on Professor O. She mentioned democracy, and I recently read this. It said parliaments are the backbone of that conventional democracy prevailing in the world today. Parliament is a misrepresentation of the people. And parliamentary systems are a false solution to the problem of democracy. A parliament is originally founded to represent the people, but this in itself is undemocratic, as democracy means the authority of the people and not an authority acting on their behalf. The mere existence of a parliament means the absence of the people. True democracy exists only through direct participation of the people and not through the activity of their representatives. We have learned here in the belly of the beast in America that systems of government called democracy, where we elect representatives in a process that is dominated by money, is a false democracy. And nowhere in the world has democracy actually proved a successful model. Because when we elect representatives, what you are doing is you are sacrificing or giving over your sovereign authority to someone else who doesn't have to act in your interests or on your behalf. And in fact, in most democratic systems, the elected representatives, instead of working for the people, end up working for the corporate democracy. So I don't share Professor O's optimism, not because of any particular person in Nigeria, but because of the history of democratic systems. And that's my opening statement.
Well, now it's me. First of all, I want to send out a shout out to my homeboy Cowboy Mania. I actually came on the show yesterday when my Dallas Cowboys did a surprising victory. A victory that I didn't see coming, but it happened. So he shout out my show on his. I'm doing the same for his. So for any Cowboy fans out there just like me, go check out my boy when he does Cowboy Mania. Now, on to our scheduled broadcasting. What if I gave you, just a jar of jelly, and I told you that majority of it is bad, but the top is still good? Would you still take it? What if I gave you a car that when I tell you that, it runs good for the first 1,000 miles, but after, would you still buy it? This is where our country is at. Well, mainly for us black folks. Morris, why you say that? I know this goes against what Cheech's been saying, but you know what? Even Alan Bragg even said it. These people need to be exposed. They need to be said so you can watch out for them. Talk about the Candace Owens. I'm talking about the Larry Elders of the world. Those types. Those types. They're like that bad jar of jelly. Well, yes, they will speak facts to you. Tell you about the problems, that black people are facing on a daily basis. But then when they got you and you go deeper, you realize how poison and toxic they is to our community. When they come up with no solutions, they go from saying these were the things on why, this was going on. Then they go blaming our own people. And seeing people who barely know anything about politics sitting there saying, well, I know Kansas be dragging us. I know Larry Elder be dragging us, but they saying facts. No, they're not saying facts. It's the old bait and switch. Now, I know a lot of y'all go sit there, but what about the left? What about the black people on the left? Let me tell you about the ones on the left. I'm talking about the ones, let me think of the names. I can't believe I'm about to say her name if I can remember. But for them too. But see, they doing more yelling and they're not doing anything. I just wish I could think of some of the black folks on the left, one person's name that really does care about black folks. But the issue is they get trinkets or they get nothing at all done. And they just allow it to happen. But you know the reason why they're not as just as toxic as them? It's because they stand by it. Candace Owens stands by it. Larry Elder stand by it because they're getting this. And for those who sit there and y'all listen to them and sitting there listening to that part and not listen to the rest of it, you got duped. You got hook, line, and sinker, whatever words you want to call it. But that's their opinion. That's also the biggest problem in this damn country. It's not their opinion. This is why you do your due diligence, look up reliable sources, and do your own damn research. Just because somebody got a big ass show and got a big ass following on Facebook does not make them reliable. And that goes for me too. But at least I can say I do go back and do my research and admit when I'm wrong. Tell me one time that they ever go back and admit that they're wrong. I wait. Or provided solutions that can actually help us do something. And this is why I created this platform. To stop them. To also, on the left, stop them. To push out reliable content. But ladies and gentlemen, before you start jumping on the bandwagon of these two fools and more of them like them, make sure you do your due diligence and see if they have a consistency. See what solution that they provided to help us at least keep our heads above water, or at least getting us out of this big ass puddle of sea, whatever you want to call it, that we're not just chin deep, that at least we are getting shoulder links out of it. Rather than stating the obvious, this is the reason why you up in there, this is the reason why we're still here, and not providing solutions. And that, I yield the floor.
Wow. Well, since I'm last, I guess I got to sum up everybody's and give a balanced statement, because I agree with everybody. And so to kind of find the middleman, we must vote. If the first part of this year has taught us anything, we need to get our ass out here and do something quick, because the world is going left really fast, and we need to get in line, or we're gonna fall by the wayside. So to Mr. O, yes, we must return to a true democratic form of government. And by doing that, we should not have a government in a sense, because as Seapley explained, the whole purpose of a representative defeats the purpose of speaking of the power for the people. The people don't have true power if someone is, quote unquote, speaking on their behalf. So we must eliminate that and really return to a democratic, tribal sense of everyone's opinion counts and matters and is taken into consideration. And we must educate ourselves as we vote. And not just educate ourselves on our personal views and the personal concepts that we agree to. We must educate ourselves on the entire spectrum. Because when we vote this year, we should not vote as Democrats or Republicans, progressive, or whatever your stupid ass political label you want to claim. We need to vote as the people, for the people. this is the time where bipartisanism is posed to take effect. Fuck your color, fuck your set. They coming for all of us. It's time to link up. It is time for the Crips and the Bloods to stand together in unity. But on a political scale, if you dig what I'm shoveling. It's no more of division. We cannot have that anymore in this country. We cannot allow the labels that we put upon ourselves to categorize our own personal views or understandings of the world to truly define our world. We are more than the labels we claim and more than the labels we yearn for. At the end of the day, we're all the same fucking label, human. And that's the most important one of all. Can't change it, and you ain't had to do nothing to earn it. You got it just like everybody else. So let's come together with the same label of human and vote this year, but vote for us, not for these parties, not for what they say they're going to do. We need to vote for a new system and a new way of doing things, because what's going on right now ain't working. That's my open statement. Let's kick this show off. I'm ready talking shit.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Before I got alibi for my opening statement, but he's back on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my dog, my boy, Jason Woodard, aka Too Smooth. Welcome back.
What's good with sir?
Where's we go? You already know Beast Johnson. You got
yeah, you were the one talking all that craziness last week.
He look. I'm telling you something.
I can accept it now because I know I got a face to go with it. It don't bother me now.
So before I got alibi. So to be fair, so I already said two correspondents from the right. Here's two left: Angela Rye and Michael Eric Dyson. I believe that they mean well, but they just do this pat on the Democrat side. Right there. So this for you, Mr. O, because I knew Mr. O like, look here, Morris.
I feel like they play the Swiss roll.
Yeah.
They play the Swiss roll of trying to remain neutral, but passionate and understanding on both sides. But
yes.
Yeah. So I got you, Mr. O. I know Mr. O like, look here, Morris. God dang it, I came back on the show. Now, come on. All right. So basically, the topic of the show is it's control what we can't control. And I'm happy that we got to talk about we have to talk about voting. I know he got his different sides of it. I got my different sides. Mr. O has his. Me and Mr. O, we actually look eye to eye on voting. Beast Johnson, he's kind of like I'm gonna bring this all together with this. But one thing, like I was telling Mr. O, me and Mr. O, we was chopping it up before the show got started. I was always told by my supervisor, control what you can't control. If you don't have no influence or even know anything about it, don't even worry about it. Worry about what's in front of you. And so voting is one of those things, if you like it or not. because with all the things that we want to do, and let's say, like I said, I can't say too much, but the current administration, if they win and then they start doing, even if it's a new one, or the current administration wins, and then they put in laws where we can't do the things that we want to do, then we're basically fucked. I mean, we're basically fucked. So I'm saying for both, for either the new or the current. And so I'm gonna open the floor, but I'm gonna let Mr. Woodard come in and get his view on it. So what do you think about this, Mr. Woodard?
Man, this election it's a mess to me. You know, both candidates we got, I really not seeing eye to eye with neither one. Even the one I voted for that you know about, Morris, and the one that's currently running. And just right now, it's too much divide going on in the world, and I really think we just need, like he said on last show, all of us don't need to vote. You know, we need to boycott the vote this year, and till we get somebody that we know who can be the better fit for the Black community. Because right now, I don't feel it on either side of them.
All right, floor is open.
I mean, I agree. I said it before myself. I mean, like I said it unilaterally, if we all don't vote as a nation, one or two things will happen. They will know that we're serious and that a storm is coming, or somebody's going to get elected anyway, and then America's going to see that this whole system is completely fucked up and full of shit, and then they're really going to ride it out. So there's a benefit on both sides for the people for not voting.
And this goes into what you were saying on the last. Go ahead, Mr.
Look, participate. These are the options you've got. The only thing I advise is this: don't marry a political party. Look at your candidate for mayor, what they are saying they are offering, and vote to who convinces you. The same thing with the legislation, same thing with the presidency. Participate, because that will give you is spiritual. Boycotting is cowardness and bitterness. Participating because whoever wins, we all win. I want to add, even if you have a different view of democracy, this system also allows you to present it as an option. Campaign on it. We want a different kind of democracy. We want to participate, but for now, these are what you have. You must choose one. Not from your heart. Use your head. If you use your sentiment, you will misvote. Vote with your head.
Logically speaking, Mr. I agree with you only to a certain point. You can vote, but when you're voting into a system that you know is flawed, how much true worth is your vote? It's almost like when your mama asks you what y'all want to do today, and you answer, and it don't matter whatsoever what you say, because she gonna do what she got planned. But she continues to ask you every Saturday, so what we gonna do today? And you say, well, I want to go to the park and then go swimming. Well, we gonna clean up the house first.
Yep.
Does your opinion mean anything? Like after a while, you will establish a mentality of, why do I bother answering the question if asked? You're probably get the point like it don't matter. So you have people here. So the whole thing is, we can vote. Voting works, but if the system is flawed, and you say about getting on the local level, let's say for example, unilaterally across the nation, we're able to achieve that goal on the local level, on local government, we're able to affect that change. but that change is still minuscule in the grand scheme of the system and the governmental system that is structured for that local government. So even if we can, make that change locally, it's still a drop in the bucket, a tear in the ocean in the grand scheme. And what we're looking at right now is the grand scheme. We know we can make that change locally. We've seen, and it's evident we can make that change locally. But the system on the top is where we need to attack, is where we need to make the change. We can't do it from the bottom and hope to build up, because there are fail-safes set along the way that will force you to either stop or slowly get in order to maneuver your way up. So once you make it to the top, you're no longer truly doing it for the people.
Wait, look.
So the only way to affect that true change that we need in America is to either not vote. And the reason why I say not voting is because if we vote, we will have to vote for the Brexit style option if the government would allow that. And that comes with an or else mentality. So we don't have an or else for them to set up, the option to restructure and reformat the government. Complete overhaul. They're not giving us that option to vote on. If that was an option, then we would, as a people, vote. But they're not giving us viable options unilaterally as the people that we can vote on. So our true option is to not vote, logically speaking, because if we don't vote, we're showing that our power means something, that we're not happy with the situation, as well as showcasing and exposing the true depths of the faultiness of this system by not voting. And that's thinking with your mind, not with your heart. My heart says burn the whole damn thing down and build it back up. But I'm just speaking for myself personally.
Let me come in. Listen. If you do not vote, you have voted. If you do not vote, you have voted.
That is a very philosophical way to think about it. The act of not is still the act of.
A vote of no confidence,
has to begin from the grassroots. Forget the top, grassroots. When you capture the grassroots, then you can change even the democratic system of the grassroots. These your ideas. You are saying that no more representative system, then you can propose it on local level. That is the one that touches you most. They are the one in touch with the top. God hits the grassroots, change the grassroots. That is the revolution in the system that works in America. You have to begin from the grassroots. That is where you produce the change.
Were you about to say something, Seaway?
Yeah, I was waiting on Seepaway to chime in.
Well, first of all, Beast was doing a brilliant job of making it clear using logic.
Because I had another analogy for him if he was confused by that.
So here's another analogy. Professor O, or everybody, here's the other analogy. Okay, your options are I can shoot you or I can poison you. One is a quick, immediate death, and one is a long, slow, suffering death. Beast makes a brilliant point when he says that they aren't presenting us with all of our true options. Now, if they were to present all of us with our true options, which is, in the truest sense of the word, democracy is founded on the consent of the people, and you have the option of not consenting and removing yourself without penalty from this jurisdiction. If you can't do that without a penalty, which in this case would be the anti-Black violence against us, if you can't remove your consent to be governed freely, you aren't free. I completely disagree with Professor O that this is all that we have, because Malcolm already schooled us on this. You have the mentality of Professor O and you think all your options are within this system and what this system provides you, then you're someone who, for example, is only fighting for civil rights When, for example, Malcolm was saying, no, you need to expand and broaden your options and go to international rights. Now, I'm not saying that if you go to something like the World Court of the United Nations, and all of a sudden, they're going to come and jump in on our behalf and use some enforcement mechanism against the United States. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is more in line with what Beast is saying, which is, right, Professor O is right. When you don't vote, that's a vote. That's a vote against the system. People will have it twisted to tell you that if you don't vote, it's a vote for whoever wins the candidacy. But that's false, right? If you understand the foundation of this government, which is the consent of the people, if you can't freely remove your consent, then you are being coerced to participate in something you don't want. And God damn it, when I look at these two candidates, I think our guest Jason, this new brother on here, I don't know, but I think he will agree. When you look at either of these two candidates, one, Trump, the Republican Party, represents being shot. The Democratic Party under Biden represents being poisoned. There's no way in the world you're going to convince me to participate under that framework.
So I want to get on the point of grassroots because I don't want us for this show to come off like grassroots, it does not work, because grassroots is basically the nucleus of all revolutions that happens on this country, no matter if it's a good function or a bad function. So,
but it's not the end all be all,
right? But it's the start of all.
It's the catalyst. It's the catalyst of it.
We don't want this system, and that's what I'm saying. Right. If you respect the grassroots, respect them. Understand the grassroots is saying we don't want either of these candidates. So stop trying to force the grassroots a square peg to fit into this round hole of the American false democracy. Respect the grassroots. The grassroots don't want this no more.
Yeah, and for Mr. O, when he talks about how that's the main thing we should focus on, the grassroots, getting locally. A better analogy for American government is how Brother Seasway explains it. We're a corporation. So the president being the CEO, and the House of Representatives and the Senate being the board of directors. They are the ones that institute the bylaws and the day-to-day rules and regulations for said company while you're there employed. Now, if we're not happy with what's going on, and we can do it from the bottom up, we can get all the part-time and full-time supervisors, all the mid-level, and everybody in HR. We can get all of them in line with us and get everybody with enough power up under them to speak on our behalf and to speak with us. But unless they themselves make the change or are changed themselves by the actions or the words, nothing's going to happen. If they don't see fit, or as they'll see it, if they don't see a fiscal benefit in listening to us and hearing our issues, they will not listen to us or hear our issues, because fiscally speaking, it does not benefit them. So why would they listen? Money talks, bullshit walks. So if it ain't talking money, why am I listening? And that's their mentality, and that's the government's mentality. That's how it is with the people. So your grassroots works, but we have to, like I always say, it is but one vantage point that we must use to attack it full on. We got to hit this. We got to hit this thing from every angle, not just the grassroots, but from the militant, from the protest, from the inside infiltration, from every facet or way that we can think of to attack it and dismantle it and destroy it or change it. We need to attack it at once altogether, not just focus on one point.
Okay.
Because they got everything set up and many fail safes. So we need to hit them on all the fronts. That's the easiest way to weaken them.
Right. Before we switch on to a different part, because y'all hit on some points where it's leading to something that's been brewing in my mind for the duration of the show. What else do you have? Because I see you over there shaking your head, just smiling, like, yeah, I'm
Nah,
you're agreeing with me.
yeah, pretty much everything that everybody's saying, I 100% agree with everything. Because you remember before, Morris, I wasn't listening much when we were talking about a couple other issues on a couple of shows back and everything.
Mhm.
But I'm listening 100% to everybody, and I sat back and did some thinking myself and over some of the people I backed and I support, and now I think about it every day. It's like, what can we do different as a country, as a community? And the biggest thing I always sit and think about and ask, why do we have an electoral college anyway? Because if you think about it, our votes really don't count for anything anyway. Because all you need
Exactly.
is 200 and some votes, and you won. And that's, to me,
250, I think.
if you're doing that,
250.
huh?
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
like 250.
use everybody's vote, because everybody's vote should count instead of only a short group of people. That's how all the corruption is continue to go, because everybody in the electoral college is corrupted in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So they benefit from the corruption.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So now it just lead me to this is to the electoral college, because it's the elephant in the room when it comes to voting. And I believe Wood is talking more on, like, a voter type of side of it. So if the electoral college were to be eliminated today, will y'all still have the same stance which y'all have right now? Because I'm pulling it in. I gotta go back to being the host. I think I got enough people here.
With that being said, because when you actually look at the grand scheme of things, the electoral college, taking that completely out of the equation, because that's pretty much just an extra facet. They're already voted in to be senators and congressmen and representatives. So why do you need this additional power?
Yeah.
Already, like, you're already, it's like getting a double vote. You're already speaking on behalf of us as a representative for the state that you reside in, or that you're elected to. Why do you need another vote to speak on the behalf of your state? Again, your state already voted on who they wanted to be the president. Why should you get another vote on it as well? And why should your vote matter than all of your constituents? So to take it out of the equation, that would honestly change a lot of views in people's heads. I think people would be more inclined. It would definitely give more of a perception of a true democratic system. The electoral college is down. The people actually vote in the president. I mean, it's corrupt. Like you said, it's corrupt. Like, just taking that part out of it. We're not saying they don't have to be congressmen or representatives anymore. We're saying, no, y'all just don't get a vote when it comes to being president.
My perspective, Morris, though, the electoral college is a moot point. From my perspective, I'm seeing what's happening in the present through the eyes of my history, which begins before the slave ship. And so from that perspective, the moment these foreigners put their hands on my ancestor and brought us here, that authority is illegitimate. That's a violation of my rights. From the moment I'm brought here, the authority, the established authority of the American government it wasn't legitimate the day my ancestor was kidnapped. It wasn't legitimate the next day. It wasn't legitimate the next generation, because the authority rests on the commission of a crime. So from my perspective, right, the American authority, the government's authority over me is illegitimate. And the passage of time does not change that. Because if you say, well, it's been a long time and you've been here and you've had all these experiences, you have a driver's license, passport, and all those things. If you say that, then basically what you're saying is, if you commit a crime and you can get away with it long enough, then crime actually pays. How can, if our presence here in America is the result of a crime, and the criminals are saying, because of this crime, we now have authority over you, and then Professor O was saying, this is all you have. I mentally, spiritually, emotionally, in every possible way, I can't co-sign or acknowledge or recognize that authority. So the Electoral College has nothing to do with it from my perspective. My perspective is, now that I know my true history and I understand the process, I understand law, I understand what's happened, I am not going to substantiate their claim by voting. When you vote, you are acknowledging their right to have authority over you. On a philosophical level, I can't, my conscience, whether the thing with Professor O is real simple. It just boils down to either you believe reform is possible or you don't. If you believe reform of this system is possible, then yeah, you're going to go vote within this system because you think it is going to lead to reform changes. Most of our experience as Black people in America, more and more of us are realizing that the people who need to change are beyond the possibility of reform. The people with the power cannot be reformed. So it's not, that's what the whole issue is. If you don't believe they can be reformed, then you either become a revolutionary, which means you have to destroy the system, or you become a nationalist. It says, okay, I'm not going to try to destroy the system. I'm just going to remove myself from it. I can't co-sign on acknowledging their authority over me. You cede territory, sovereign territory that belongs within you. I'm not giving that up, regardless of what the consequences
are.
Go ahead, Mr. Joe.
Yes. Look, Miss Johnson, the problem is not Electoral College. Look, there is problem in government all over the planet. You see, if you eliminate the Electoral College, you have to eliminate politicians. Because when you change the game, they too will change.
I mean, I preferably feel we should get rid of all the government altogether. But I feel the Electoral College is just a concession. That's just a nice way of saying, hey, we could burn this whole damn thing down. But we're really just asking that you just take away their vote when it comes to president.
Look, you see, the good thing in the kind of system in America is that's your idea. Wait, that's your idea. You can propose it and let the people decide. You have to respect the decision if it differs from what you prefer. So
unfortunately, God made me too dark to publicly express that outside of the confines of this digital media.
I'm not against it, but propose it. And also let others also give their opinion on it. You know, if they go your way, you have your way. If they do not, respect the opinion of the majority. And you can changes.
I can respectfully disagree, but I will not respect it if I do not like it.
Okay,
I can respectfully disagree with what you say.
If you have to,
but I don't have to respect the fact that you said it.
I have no problem with that, your decision. But I'm saying, don't impose your suggestion. Propose it and let others also opine over it.
The problem with what Professor O is saying in our context
jump in, I want to get because you're in the standpoint of the actual, say, independent voter. You know, the undecided. So hearing So hearing all this, what is your take?
Say that again.
I'm asking Woodard.
Yeah.
Woodard. So Woodard, I'm putting you in the take of the undecided voter, which I know you're not, but
Yeah.
I'm put you in that situation to
All right.
keep it balanced. So with all of what you heard, what is your take?
My like I said earlier, be honest with you, I agree with Beast, most of it. Pretty much 99% of everything. I agree with Beast on it because, like we keep saying, the system is flawed. Either way you look around it, it's flawed. It's flawed on both sides of the house. Nobody can get anything together, and the system is completely flawed. If we can hit Alt Control Delete and start over, that'd be perfect. But I know it'll never happen unless everybody get together and make a change in it. Everyone,
Okay.
Not just one side, not the other side, but everybody needs to get together because it's ridiculous over the years of the way the government has treated everyone. They say one thing, then they try and do something different. All there is, they're pimps in a suit.
You see,
So
and yes,
go ahead, Michelle. Go ahead.
Jason.
Yes.
You are very good news for me. Really. You made me happy. You made me happy that our community are diverse in opinion, and they are not a slave to one single party. I congratulate you.
Yes.
I will not oppose what you're saying. Your own opinion is also an opinion and must be respected.
Yeah.
And let the politicians know that you can reject them both. And if they want your vote, they must convince you. You have made me happy.
Trust me, he's from Texas. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Here's the problem in the context of America. Black people are 47 million in a population of 350 million. So from the very grand context, we're always outvoted. From the national context, right, the Congressional Black Caucus is a small minority within Congress. And it's Congress that makes the laws, not the people, right? So even if you elect representatives, right, the representatives, even if they were to represent what the people want, our representatives can always be outvoted. When you get to the level of the local city councils, right, even in black cities, you have city councils that are majority still white. You may have a city council that has 10 people sitting on it and only 2 or 3 of the seats are black, which means that they can always be outvoted. The problem with this form of democracy is that it's a fraud. What it says is, okay, for example, if you have an election and there's 6 candidates and the candidate with the most votes gets 39% of the votes, that's not even a majority of the people. But in such a system, someone elected with 39% of the votes, not even a majority, now has a what? Power, a tyranny over the other what? 61% of the people. And so 61% of the people, even if they vehemently disagree with policies, for example, take the drug war. You had all these people in the black community that said what? Criminalizing us because we're selling this plant in the same way that you sell sugar or you sell caffeine, right? Criminalizing us, destabilizing our communities, right? Making an economic system, prison industrial complex system where you pay lawyers, you pay court stenographers, you have an entire, what happens is those people work in these cities. They get paid off of criminalizing us. Then they go to their suburbs where they pay taxes, and then all those taxes go to those white communities. You had millions of people, Professor O, for decades saying this is wrong. It is hurting us as our community. It's a violation of our rights. It's a violation of our self. And I don't know what you think we've been doing for decades, but the grassroots has been pleading with politicians, right, to stop doing that. And this is just one example. And what happened? The people who had the power to make the laws always overrode the will of our people and said, no, this is going to be law and order. And then what happened? To Beast Johnson's point, when those powerful people overnight decided that now selling marijuana is legal, after 40 years of taking all that money and destabilizing our communities, now they say it's legal. But who has access to the land to grow it? Not us, their community. Who has access to the financing to set up the factories? Not us, their community. So what they said for 40 years was illegal and literally destroyed our communities. They are now making billions of dollars of profits. That's what you call a legal transfer of wealth. It was orchestrated by law and order in a democratic system in which we are a national minority that has no power. So your advocation that we just propose things, right, to the politicians and either we'll get our way, which would be good, or if we don't, we have to respect that. We don't have to respect anything that is a violation of our human rights and which is a genocide against us. There's no way in the world I'm respecting a law that criminalizes me for selling a plant when they built this country on selling an addictive plant, tobacco, and sugar, right? There's no way I can respect the laws of these people who have no legitimate authority over me and whose system is not a democracy, it's an oligarchy. You got to get that through your mind. America is not, even the best think tanks in America, Professor O, if you've done your research in homework, even the smartest professors who you say need to tell us what the problem is, those smart professors have already said the problem is America is an oligarchy. We've had 5 presidents elected that lost the popular vote. John Quincy Adams, Rutherford B. Hayes, Benjamin Harrison, George Bush, and Donald Trump. 2 of them have been elected in my lifetime. So when Black people say your vote doesn't matter, we're not just saying that because we're ignorant. It's because we've experienced it twice in our lifetime.
Statistically and analytically, we can show you the numbers.
Also, I want to add on to the majority part of Black people being the majority. I'm gonna put on my even though I hate conspiracy theories, let me go and pull my tinfoil hat.
Hold on, brother. Can't be stealing my hat now.
Hey, you've been stealing my devil's advocate. So let me go ahead and take this tinfoil hat. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this tinfoil hat on. I still believe that Black people are the majority here in America. I believe that wholeheartedly because with how many slaves that was brought over here during the colonial times, I find it hard to believe that whites automatically just catches up with us, which leads on to the redlining. There's a lot of redlining that's going on, a lot of gentrification that's going on. It's mainly happening here, and it's funny. It's happening in the cities first, and now it's coming out to the rural areas. So I honestly, truly believe that Blacks, we are the majority, and I think because of redlining, and then also because of gentrification, we are told that we are the minority because of how the red lines have been done in many different cities. I know it's a lot different in North Carolina than here. They continue to do it here. Definitely in communities of big, larger Blacks, a Black community, they are getting redlined like left and right. Yeah, it's happening left and right over here. So I do honestly believe that 46 million is being very, very modest, but that's me with my conspiracy hat on. But to go to Mr. O, because Mr. O, I know he was ready. I know he was ready. Let me go ahead and answer this back. So, Mr. O, what do you have to say about that?
Look, I come to what I said in the beginning. Look, we have to begin from the grassroots. Look, I know democracy is not perfect, but it's the best of all the other alternatives. Begin with the grassroots. America works on a federal system. When you capture a grassroots, you have a territory where you can apply all our ideas. And if it works well, it will be a light that will shine all over the rest. If you concentrate your energy on wanting to fight the top will fight back. Begin from the grassroots. Let us see how your ideas work to better the life of the grassroots. You brought a brother the other day, I think it's Jones, the one that called Khan. I would like him to come back to the program because I want him to be a light to the community. He is the one that can produce a revolution.
See, here's the thing that kind of confuses me, Mr. O, because you speak so fervently and passionately about grassroots, and you fail to realize that it's still happening right now, has been happening, continually happening. It takes on a myriad of different forms and fashions. Black Lives Matter is a grassroots movement.
No more. It has been hijacked.
As you say, sir, that is your opinion. As you say, sir, that is your opinion. But
champion by white people. They come on like $1 billion in capital. Forget it. That is not what we want. No.
NAACP was done the same way.
So majority opinion. So let me stop. This is the majority opinion. So respect it. Go ahead, BC.
Yes,
I understand that, and like you said, that is your opinion, and I respect it. And as I counter your point about, the philanthropical support, Dr. King has been noted many a times, and many HBCs have been structured and established off white money, and a lot of people will not admit it. You can say what you want to about how you got there. They got there. They might have had to hustle the devil to get to heaven, but they did what they need to do.
I got my hand up. We're not endorsed by any white money or any other money. Just saying. But we do encourage.
We accept it. I take it. I ain't gonna lie. I'm letting you know right now what I'm using for. Black folk. Okay, well,
the Black Lives Matter movement. There's the original one composed of the grassroots who were all, even before the hashtag, out there protesting the injustice and the police brutality. So when I use the word Black Lives Matter, and I don't use it that often, but when I use that, I'm referring to the grassroots people. I'm not talking about the other hashtag or segment of the movement that's been co-opted, right? Because I don't acknowledge the co-optation. I won't allow those forces that are attempting to co-opt the movement take the legitimacy from the grassroots who knew why they were out there doing it, that weren't sponsored by anyone. So when Beast challenges the whole co-optation of Black Lives Matter, I understand where he's coming from, because he knows that they're in every city. We're in St. Louis, Ferguson, which I'm just 2 hours away from, Professor O. Those people out there that were chanting Black Lives Matter are still there. This was before you had all of the fundraising from the website connected to George Soros. That's a separate thing. The grassroots movement, which we are actually the grassroots, those of us on this call, we are the grassroots. None of us has any power. None of us belongs to the elite society. None of us has any financial security. None of us owns land. We are the grassroots. And we're telling you exactly what we think and feel. And you seem to think that we're imposing something on you, but instead we're just kind of all in solidarity and agreement, and you don't want to seem to accept that. But then you champion saying, in a democracy, you got to accept the will of the majority. So here you are in a democracy of 5, and you're the lone wolf. So just accept it. That's what you're telling us.
All right, so before we continue, I want this conversation to continue on, but we do got some bills to pay, and we'll be right back. right, before we start on this segment, I'm gonna go ahead and let our people know about our sponsor because I've been failing a lot when I started to endorse our stuff. So this segment of the show is presented by RealCheddarBoyPopcorn.com. Mr. Jones, we need you to come back on the show. Hopefully everything's going good. I need to reach out to him. Probably after the show, I'm going to reach out to him. Hopefully he can come back on the show. But please, ladies and gentlemen, check out RealCheddarBoyPopcorn.com. He got a brand new flavor out. Bijan, I'm going to let you explain on that one. What's those new flavors you got for his popcorn?
Currently, right now, we have the confectionery concoction known as strawberry birthday cake. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And for you other folk with that lovely little sweet tooth, I also got some apple pie.
Oh, yes.
I'm just being, as a partaker of the ponic, I'm just telling you right now, my mouth is salivating. Great munchy food. And look, anything make you want to rub your fingers together, the bag come with napkins, baby.
Yes, it does.
Wet wipes. What popcorn come with wet wipes for the white cheddar? That's love.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's strolling down at the bottom. Please check out. It's actually a local black business that's here in Seattle. Visit RealCheddarBoyPopcorn.com. Now, also, the reason why I have those breaks, not only that we need to pay bills, it's also for us to go back to our corners, have a breathe in and breathe out. So we can breathe in. So, Mr. O, time to come out that corner. Ding, ding. I know you had something to come back for. Come on, Mr. O.
Look. The good thing I see today is the presence of Jason Woodard. He's the only one that... you know what, Jason? Look, run for office. Run. Even if it's on council, run for it. Run as independent. But look, when you make it, about 1,000 blacks will run as independent. That is where the revolution begins. Look, you are very clear. Look, between us, we shall be opposing each other and nothing comes through. The only good thing I'm saying here is that you say you are listening to us. I say you have all the quality. Run for a local government, a council. Run with that your ideas. Speak to the people. That differences you see that you don't like in the two parties, you propose it. When you get in, you will multiply. That's revolution.
Before you get started, before you say anything, Jason, first of all, what you're asking for, Mr. O, there's going to be wherever county he runs for mayor is going to have 3 shotguns behind the door, country boots, live barbecue. This is what you asking for.
Yeah.
Which,
you think it's different from me? You think it's different from Argentina? You think it's different from Nigeria? Come on.
I ask you this, like, do you really know what goes into, do you know the squad that is needed for a politician to really be a politician?
It is the same in Argentina, in Nigeria, and most part of the democratic world.
Of course, because they followed our structure. So I asked the question. So you do know what it really takes. So when you asking this man this, you are officially indoctrinating us as part of his cabinet.
I'm not indoctrinating him. I'm encouraging him.
Donnell got to be his PR broadcast. He handled that. You are his community liaison. You make sure he keep it real with the blacks. Seaway is quite eloquent, so he would be like the speechwriter and fact checker. He makes sure everything come out this man's mouth is truthful. And see me, I'm the one y'all ain't supposed to see. If y'all see me, I'm in the back and I'm labeled as security.
Yeah.
Everything that you ain't supposed to know about Jason, I'm the one that's gonna make sure you never know that about Jason.
Which one of us is financing this?
Ain't gonna be me.
Hey, look. That unfortunately, that's information I know, and I can't speak on that right now.
They wouldn't want me.
Look,
Hey,
just know we got you. Look, we got you in the next. We got you next electoral season. We got you.
Once he announces it,
Gone in about 3 days.
sponsors will come. Look, that is politics. No, look, politics is the art of anything possible. Look,
No, it's not. It's the art of bullshit till
the
you
money
get
will
it.
come. I said, look, let him run. He will have sponsors.
Okay.
Look, I'm gonna keep it. I'm keep it real with you. Like, I love you, Mr. O.
Yeah.
Nomination.
But
Are you going to accept the
politician?
nomination?
Yeah, politics is one big game, but who can talk the slickest shit?
Look,
And who can get
I
in?
say, look, don't hide. Run.
This
There will be sponsors.
Wow.
They will come from every corner. That is politics. They
Professor
will not
O,
come if you are hiding.
none of us
When you
is
stand up
hiding.
and speak out, they will
None
come
of us is
because
hiding.
they
We're not.
want their interest,
running.
defended. They will come.
Okay. All right.
Jason, do you accept the nomination?
Yeah. Yeah. Word. He said sure. All right. So we kind of got off track. So Mr. O, I knew you was gonna say something and rebut to what Seepaway said earlier. Do you still have anything to say on that?
No. Forget it. Let's move on.
Okay. All right, got you. I guess
So
we
let me ask you this. Okay. So after the election, whoever wins, let's say somehow Biden wins, the same person who helped establish for-profit prisons, who helped establish the military-industrial complex, who receives money and legitimizes big pharma, who's tied to the big banks, right? Who has legislation that made the student loans more parasitical, who gutted Social Security and vet benefits, right? Who supports the DNC election fraud and was part of the whole drug war. So that is the Biden administration. Now you have all these people out here, and this is where I agree with Professor O. I don't think the Democrats are any better or than the Republicans. I agree with Professor O on that.
We all agree on that. Like that's one thing we can all unilaterally agree.
Yeah.
Both sides are flawed.
Yeah. And it's both of them.
Here's my point. You have a lot of people in the Black community who still are under the political slavery of legitimizing this system, who are saying the most important thing is get Trump out of office. So if you don't vote for Trump, you're a traitor to the race. Okay? The question to them is, suppose Biden gets elected and he continues those policies that hurt us. How do all of the Black people who are promoting and encouraging everyone to vote for Biden, how are those Black people going to be accountable for whatever damage the Biden administration does if they win? See, these Black people say get out and vote, but then there has to be the accountability afterwards. And I don't see any of these Black people talking about vote for Biden showing any kind of plans on how they're going to deal with whatever policies and administration, legislation they come up with, which is harmful to us, how they're going to hold them accountable. And this goes both ways, whether you vote for Biden or Trump. This is why I have a problem with this whole sacred duty voting thing, because a lot of people feel that if they vote, they have discharged their political duties. But once you give away that power, these people can do with it whatever they want. They can betray you. And when they do, what recourse do the people have? Now, what I hear Professor O is saying is that you have to just continuously engage in a political process that is stacked against us to try to get your reforms, which is what we've been doing since emancipation. I don't know what Professor O thinks we've been doing. We've been doing that, and we're still in this boat. Right? It hasn't been working. So the political question now, I would say to Black people, is all of you are saying we should vote for Biden, right? how are you going to hold him account? How are you personally going to be accountable for the fact that you convinced us to put him in office and now he's doing damage? What responsibility are you going to take? I mean, they're not going to take any.
Yeah, unfortunately, like I said, I agree. There's no leaning of parties over here. I criticize the Republicans and criticize the left as much as well, because we are in like a double-edged sword type of society right now.
I won't even say that. Like after hearing Seaway, I was just thinking to myself, I was getting the whole visual of being in Vegas, sitting at a roulette table. Where the black? Where the black? Where the black? And it's just the spin of that ball, and every so often we get a good call. You know, we hit one in our favor. Most times it's like, and we lose, but not lose enough to really hurt us. But we still sitting at that table, like Mr. O said, we still bet, we still voting, so we're still putting that bet in.
Okay, so
hoping for good. And it turns out good every now and then, but it's like at this point, we better off just getting up and walking away from the table.
Exactly.
But okay. But here's the thing. Have you ever watched the mob movies when people tried to walk away from the table? What happened to them?
That's only if you're winning.
But then also, what happened if you owe the house?
So why would you want to vote for a system?
I'm playing.
Yeah, that's a brilliant question. If somebody asked me that question, I would say, so why do you want to be a part of a system where if you try to get up and walk away from the table for your own benefit, they're going to fight you?
And I have a better question going back to him, going back to Seaway, saying like we were forced to come over here. So it's like we were dropped off at the casino and they just told us, hey, just go sit down and entertain yourself while we figure out what's going on. Just go ahead and play the games. It don't matter. Just entertain yourself. And the whole time, like you said, we building up debt. We building up a tab that we don't know about. And now you try to pull this tab on us when we leave, when we decide we want to leave. I go back to see what I didn't ask to be in this motherfucker in the first place. Y'all dropped me off here.
What you're talking about is sharecropping.
So like, why? Like, how you gonna give me a tab for something you didn't tell me I was paying for in the first place? If you told me I was paying for it, then it's a little different story. You dropped me off here and made it work. Now you want to hit me with a bill if I say I want to dip, or I say I don't want to vote. Now you want to hit me with penalties that you claim that I've accrued that I didn't know existed. How is that legal? How is that fair?
Because they say it. Because they say it and they put it on a piece of paper, and they have convinced us that this thing that they call a democratic government is a legitimate authority, and it put us under the spell where, for all this time, Beast, we had 3 generations where we weren't allowed to have a book, read or write. And if you were found with a book, right, you were brutalized or killed. For 3 generations, we didn't have a book. Why? They were perfecting their game and their system. Then, when we finally were allowed to have a book and go to school, we got educated for what they felt we needed to know to fit smoothly in their system. You think they're ever going to properly educate us about how their system runs and our place in it? No, they didn't do that. So when we finally wake up, which is what we're doing now, and we understand what you just said, Beast, they dropped us off in this casino, right? And now they're forcing us to be here, or they forced us to be here. We had no means for getting out of this jurisdiction. Now we're trying to figure out, I don't want to be in the casino anymore. And then we have our own people trying to tell us there's something wrong with us because we're now talking about, hey, we need to leave the casino. And guess what? When we leave the casino, we can go build something for ourselves. And we got people trying to push it. No, go back. The casino is your only option. That's all you got. There's nothing outside. There's no land. There's no world outside. Right? Go back in the casino and keep playing that roulette wheel. Come on, man. You can't accept that. You can't tell me that all there is the casino.
So do you believe that?
And yeah, it's scary if all you know is being in a casino and you don't know what's out there. And they told you boogeyman stories. And if you leave the casino, like, we're going to shoot you. If you leave the plantation, we're going to kill you. So then we got that trauma in our brain that says the only way to survive is to stay in the casino. But every day we stay in the casino, we racking up a debt. And then in order to get any food in the casino, they say, well, you owe us, you ain't got no money. So guess what? Now you washing dishes. Now you mopping the floor. Now you working for them because of a debt they manufactured because they convinced you that you can't leave the casino and survive.
Mm-hmm.
That's the mentality that we have to break. That's why you need somebody like me stuck on this is going to keep saying it over and over again, not because my job is to say it cut and clear. It's the job of Jason to go out there and say it in a softer fashion, okay, to get the other people to realize it, because maybe my speech is too offensive. It's Beast Johnson's job to enforce the goddamn Harriet Tubman style. If you start walking with us out in the casino, you ain't turning back and telling on us. And then we got to have the David Walker's Appeal, which is this show, which we put in this little video pamphlet that we send it out in packets to everyone to get them caught up to speed.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and that would be my next question.
What we don't need is all these scary house Negroes trying to tell us to go back in the casino.
To be fair,
you know what's funny? Hold on, you know what's funny? See what? You call me the enforcer of the rules. In high school, every organization that I was in high school, I was the parliamentarian, and that's the role of the parliamentarian, to enforce the rules.
We got our own rules now. The grassroots rules, the Black Lives Matters rules, the grassroots that we're coming up with.
And see, that was my next question, because when you was using that analogy of the casino, it's going to be that one person that be like, you know what? I had enough of this. Let me get like-minded people that feels the same way that I do. And here's one fact. Reason why all 6 slave revolts failed, it was because of that one. That one, not even a house Negro, that one, the field one, who loved Massa so much that he went back and told him that, hey, you know, Samson, he I think they on to something. I heard something about tomorrow they're gonna try to come attack you, boss. And I saw what's that one movie that came out, Birth of a Nation. It was a movie about was it Nat Turner, right?
Yeah.
Many years ago, which that movie didn't even get critically acclaimed because they were so worried about the freaking director and the starring characters' sexual harassment.
Yep.
And you got so many of the freaking
that was the movie. Like they tried to blackball that whole movie and fabricated. Oh, he tried to rape some random white girl back in college because it was a black man doing a black movie, producing, starring about a successful black revolt.
And
he might have died, but it was successful.
And I think I saw that movie because I knew it was coming out that year. And I think this is when I was still in teacher's class and she was talking to me about it. I was like, oh, snap, I forgot about that movie. And she like said, you need to go see it. Saw that movie. I was like, wow.
Well, like and they went as far as to have movie theaters stop people from seeing it. Like they were having on the billboard. The production company actually went and did behind the scene movie on it. And they like went to the theaters and asked to see the movie. And the actual manager was telling them, yeah, we're having difficulty or making up bullshit excuses why they were not playing that particular movie, even though they clearly had it promoted on the board, had it in the system, allowed people to buy tickets for it.
And I'm happy that you putting it up. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, we're good. Go ahead.
No, because I'm happy that you brought that up. I'm not trying to take this, go off the tracks of what we're talking about, but even in that area that I was in at the time, I was in a small little area in Kentucky, Hopkinsville, Kentucky. I know would have heard about it. They have a theater there. They have a small little theater there. You can tell that it's locally owned. And when that movie came out, nothing showed up. Didn't even show. I even went up there. I was like, do y'all have a Birth of a Nation? Obviously a little white girl. She was like, never heard of that. And I was like, and my mom was like, yeah, I know.
Better not ask no more questions.
Yeah. And so I ended up watching a different movie, and I had the whole entire theater to myself. But right there just says a lot, right there. But going back to what you was talking about, both you, Sleepaway, and what Beast was also alluding to, is that slavery was stopped because of that. But minus that part, you want to get around people that is going through the same shit that's not that boisterous or would say anything. Because you have to have that one person that's like, you know what, I'm gonna stand before y'all, but I need y'all to have my back. Not even have my back. I need y'all to be side by side with me. If I go down, I expect somebody to take the reins, should next man or next woman up.
One must be secretive, almost mafioso like with this before you get on that grand scale. You got to sit there and observe people's character before you really start promoting that publicly. Aside from those that you know beyond the shadow of a doubt are like-minded, are in this blood in, blood out, just like you, before you actually take your IP public with it, you really got to sit back and observe, because you can't have that. And we've gone through that too many times. So now we kind of got to take on the more militant Ali mentality of kill them, kill all the snakes, no matter who poisonous or not. And the older mentality of slave time was kill the cowards first. We're not promoting death, but what we're promoting is we're not going to have you involved at all. Before this thing, before we used to really start projecting this out to people, really see who's worth speaking to.
All right. Yeah. I'm gonna tie in with what Mr. O and what also Sleepaway was talking about when it came to the Black Lives Matter, how I got infiltrated, which I don't believe it got infiltrated, but okay. But vetting came to mind. And I believe every group, definitely prominent groups, do that. They do it in the military. Wood or nose, they do it in the military. Definitely, if it's in a government type of job, they will find out if you are who you say you are. And the issue with the groups nowadays now, and I hit Black Lives Matter with this too, is that they don't vet the people that they bringing up in there. Because the issue what happened with the Black Panther was because they had an infiltrator. Whatever vetting system, or if they did vet the people, the members, new members that was coming in, they didn't do a good job. Or that the guy was so convincing that they was like, you know what, he's in. And then got from the inside out, which also Sleepaway brought up the drug war. And the Black Panther was definitely helping out Black folks, helping them on the laws. They had the 10-point program. A lot of people don't realize.
Started the WIC program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The government WIC program was started by the Black Panthers.
I forgot about you, Bakari. You was stationed around there. We got you. but I mean, even did you mention the breakfast program, the free breakfast program?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Those two programs were funded and created by the Black Panthers. And after they dismantled them, government took it over.
Right, and people don't
realize. We like that idea. We're going to take that.
Mm-hmm. And people didn't realize that the Black Panthers were the ones that actually started these points. But
and Morris, you
heading.
hold on. You made a point about those that sold out, the insurrectionists and the Nat Turner and all of that. On the one hand, right, I challenge people to do this, right? Go read the slave narrative. In 1936, the government funded a Workers' Project Administration project where they sent interviewers. This is 1936. They sent interviewers down to the South and interviewed people that were former slaves because they were still alive. You go and read these testimonies, it's revealing, and it's gonna break your heart when you see how many people, if they had a good slave master, meaning they got some good food and good clothes, probably 30% of these slave narratives, you have black people saying, oh, Massa was, I love Massa. Massa was a good man. Now, to our level of consciousness now, to hear a slave say that my slave owner was a good man is very jarring. But what you said, Morris, that, going to run to tell Massa, that was part of the tragedy and the brainwashing, is that you could be a slave and not even recognize your condition because of the brainwashing and the creature comforts. Meaning, if you got enough good food compared to the rest of the slaves in the area, and maybe, the master allowed you to celebrate on Christmas because some slaves didn't get, basically based on the privileges they gave you, you developed an affection for the slave master. Okay? So people need to go back and read these things to check the mentality and then bring it forward to today and see if it's any different. The other point I wanted to bring up real quick is we've talked about leadership on this show several times, and there are different vehicles or roles for people to be leaders. And I had this conversation with my sister the other night. She's trying to tell me, you need to try to find a way to say things to make people want to join you. And I said, no, that's not my particular spiritual journey. That's not my job. My job as a truth teller, as a truth seeker, as what in the biblical days they would call the righteous prophet. The righteous prophet wasn't a mobilizer or an organizer. His job was just to say the damn thing straight. He didn't care about consequences. He didn't even care about himself. He wore raggedy clothes, let his hair grow out, and he was a pariah. But everybody knew this man. Everybody knew that when this man spoke, he's not mincing any words. He's going to say it to you straight. And we need that today. Right? We need people who are going to stand up and tell us what the time is and what the tune is, period. And they're not out there trying to be the mobilizer or the leader. They're not even seeking leadership. Those are the people that when you talk about looking for authoritative sources. If somebody's trying to be the leader and trying to be the truth teller and all these things wrapped up, now you got to really investigate them. But when you got people standing up there saying the thing that nobody really wants to say, because if you're really honest, they're scared. They're afraid they're going to lose their job. They're afraid of the consequences. When you got somebody that's consistently doing that, like, it's not their job necessarily to be the mobilizer or the coordinator or the leader of a mass movement of the grassroots people. Right? So we need some. Muhammad Ali was like this. He wasn't trying to lead the black Muslims. He was just trying to say things straight and put it out there so that there would be no excuse for you not to know. How you respond to that information is on you. So we had to be able to say, these are our righteous truth tellers.
Gotcha.
They know the history. They have the pulse of the people. They're articulate enough to break it down where they can explain it to a highfalutin professor or to a child. Because they're not just repeating information. They're speaking from a knowledge base that comes from inside them. So there's different roles. And ideally, we want those people to work with our so-called politicians, our mobilizers, our organizers, so that they don't go astray. Like Beast was saying, you got to have somebody in your camp that's not trying to be the leader, but is trying to make sure they have the most accurate information and the best analysis.
Right. I agree with that. And with that, we're going to have everybody go back to their corners because we come to the final leg of the show, and we will be, well, before we be right back, we got a network that's coming up. Well, we actually still in the works, already working on getting the content. Check it out. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Can't wait to pull up the network. Right now, we're getting the content, and we're going to have that all ready for you. And I'm already telling you right now, we're working on the content right now on the show as I am currently recording all the shows. So all the shows that you love or miss is going to be on the network. We guarantee you that. Also, don't forget to support the show, even though I played the commercial earlier. Support the show. Go to our coffee site and donate. Donation starts at $3 to help us keep the show going. We want to have interviews. I want to have interviews on the streets. I want them to do their part as well to broaden, to better the show. And what I mean by broad, I mean to get a far reach of us. It's good if we have other ethnicities comes in. That'd be great, but broad for us. So
also, if I might add,
go ahead, jump on.
All you current content creators out there, plugging your creations, your intellectual properties on the various streams. If you're tired of rewriting and re-editing and having to worry about unnecessary nitpicking, if you're tired of being demonetized for a name reason, if you're tired of having to bend and alter your creative image just in order to showcase it, your ass need to come over to the Wet Network because we ain't about that bullshit.
No, not at all.
If you ain't figured out by this show, any and everything that's on this network will be 100% raw. ODB style, baby. You hear me?
Mm-hmm. I don't think
if you want to do a real crime drama, bring your crime dramas. If you want to do an athletic show about stripping, long as it's clean, we might have to do it late night like Uncut. No, that might be one of the private options for the platinum members. Yeah. For the last, we'll show it. There's an audience, and we'll let them see it. So come on, get wet, baby.
Come on.
The money's here, and we're gonna make sure you get paid.
Mm-hmm.
We the best pimp on the block, baby. All our hoes love us.
Come on, bring it. Come on.
All our bitches bottom. we got a stable of bottom bitches. That's just how bad we is over here now. No side hoes, all bottom bitches.
Top notch.
Yes.
Mayweather. TMT, baby. TBE. Other than that, so I'm happy that we start this segment off like this because I know we've been talking about a lot of serious topics and all. And I think we kind of talked about that before. Mr. O said that he couldn't come on Fridays. I told him, I said, you know what, we need to take a trip back to Africa and all that stuff. And so, and also I've been thinking about it all through the week. I was like, you know what, that's and then also the last show hit me too, how me, Seepaway, and Beast, how we all just connected. Like every time when it's just us three, it's just like the show's like deep, just like this. So I was like, I'm a for the end part of the show, we're going to end on a much lighter note and all that stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into it like this. So with I've got that dang plant, Mr. O, that you showed us from when you did your first show on the trip through Africa. I forgot that plant. I forgot what it begin with C.
Cassava.
So with cassava, I still need to find if that's being sold here in the States. And if they're not sold in the States, you think you could send me some?
I have an African question as well.
I will send you. There are ways of cooking it. There are Nigerian women publish it a lot on the internet. When you have it, let me know. We'll tell you how to use it.
Cool.
Of course, cassava, you can go to, like, if your city has a world market or a Caribbean market or even Asian world markets, that's where you're going to find it.
Oh, really? Oh,
international.
I think
I
think
we got an
Chinese
international one
market.
in my order.
Because they are brought from Paraguay. Paraguay produces it here in South America.
Oh my God!
So if you have Latino shops, you may find it there.
Cool.
The only thing that the ones in Paraguay, they are not as good as the one in West Africa. The ones in West Africa, they are very big.
Well, guess what? I'm definitely gonna be questioning. I'm gonna question the hell out there. As I said, does this come from West Africa? Is this from West Africa?
Yes,
West Africa.
I'm sorry. I need my West.
Yes,
Africa.
you see, it is found both in West Africa and in Paraguay. There is a theory that South America was joined with Africa some millions of years ago, and when they split, it was because they found animals and plants that are similar in the same, in both parts. So when you take a map of South America, Africa, you can easily plug it into the curve in West Africa.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
that's one of the theories here they have here in South America, and so you find those plants in both areas that possibly were co-joined together.
So since we talking about food, this is where I gotta bring my bell buddy, Mr. Woodard, up in here, because I remember downrange Texas got a different way of mashing their potatoes. Could you please explain that to him? Because I know North Carolina, they got their way of doing their mashed potatoes, but I'm telling you, this right here.
I'm curious.
Yeah, tell them.
So how my mashed potato?
Yes. Because I remember when we was downrange, you showed me the video on how y'all had it in the large pot and y'all was just stirring. And I was like, what is that? You said, nope, that's how we do our mashed potatoes.
Yeah, because what I do is we have it's a chicken way of peeling a potato. You just drop it in the machine and it spins around like a little sandpaper in it, and it peels it. Then after I finish doing that, you take it and put it in a pot and boil it like normal. Then after I finish, I always add sour cream. No, not sour cream. I add cream cheese, salt and pepper, a little garlic salt, and a little milk and a lot of butter, and it's good to go.
So do you put in like a pot? Because I remember that pot. Yeah. I was like, man.
Yeah, I keep it all in the same pot that I boiled it in. I pour all the water out and put it back in and use that same pot.
Oh.
Now, you don't mash it all?
I'm mashing it as I'm stirring it. Okay. So
okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. Look, North Carolina fat. We will add.
I got here North Carolina.
Sour cream, sour cream a little different, but we put sour cream on top of baked potato, so it don't surprise me. Go ahead, throw it in there. Throw some chives with some at least 4 to 5 different forms of cheddar and some bacon bits.
That sounds good.
When you just want to be real fat, throw a little gravy on top of it. You going to sleep.
Oh, I'm not done with gravy yet. Oh. Speaking of food, I think Steve, I think Steepleway brought us a little bit something.
We talking about food. I just want to say, look,
is that
yesterday from the garden, I got about 5 pounds of carrots from the garden, and I want to know, do anybody got a recipe for turnips? We got about 3 pounds of turnips. I ain't never ate turnips. I don't know nothing about no turnips.
Turnip greens are good. Turnip greens are good. Pretty much clean them, boil them in some water. You can go get seasoned pack. You can actually get like the best way to make them is take a piece of meat and throw it in there for seasoning. So get you like a ham bone, just a nice little thick bone. Throw it in there while you slow boil it. Add your various spices that you want.
Yeah, I know.
Flavor how you want it.
But what about what about the actual turnip itself? Like we've been using the leaves, but the actual turnip itself, I got to figure out something to do. So if you know anything, it's like a cross between a potato and a carrot and a turnip.
And
it's weird because I've had turnip greens and I'm like, turnip. Why does it look? I don't. That's the only part in my head I ain't figured out. How did they get from that to greens?
I'm so mad.
Oh my goodness, Beast! Really?
My whole time
this is the root. This is the root.
My feet just went
ground.
off the hair.
Yeah.
The leaf come out of the ground.
We can hear you over there too, Donnell.
Okay, the leaf come out of the ground and collect the sunlight, and is part of the photosynthesis process. So this is the root under the ground. So, okay, Beast, I'm gonna have to have a special class with you.
Yeah, we gonna figure out how to cook that because
Okay,
I ain't never seen them at that point. By the time I see them, they're ready to be put in the pot.
So I can say what you can do.
Butter.
Chop it up. Chop up some onion, some garlic, and just saute it all and try it out and see how and put some seasonings on it. That for you.
Well, that's where I'm gonna
see Mr. O. Mr. O, I think he kind of looking up the ingredients. He probably a chef over at his side. I know he be chopping some stuff up.
Now look, he's just thinking what good wine would pair with turnip. Like what's a good cooking wine versus what's a good I'ma sip on this thing while I eat this wine.
I gave you a simple African, West African. I do have
an African question for you though. It's kind of a rumor that I've heard from a couple Africans over the years. But apparently there's an item called bongo. Have you heard of it?
No, it depends upon the country.
Bongo is apparently a form of marijuana found in Africa that has the hallucinogenic property of keeping you high for 3 days straight. Like peyote is the only thing in America that can get you high for 3 days straight, but you will be tripping fucking balls.
How do you spell that?
A couple Africans over here that told me y'all got weed over there that get you high for 3 days without hallucinating. I don't believe it. I personally don't believe it. As a partaker, I don't believe it. But if you tell me it's real, I'm getting my passport.
No, what there is marijuana plantation, and they are illegal. So it's the only thing I know is marijuana. They are planted, and And when I was young, what they find in common is that where they are planted is loaded with serpents.
Okay, I just want. I'm gonna talk this up as like an African rumor that they just tell Americans to fuck with our head.
Well, Africa is big, maybe in East Africa, but in West Africa that I travel all through, I do not. I've not had it. I have no marijuana.
It was one person from Ghana and one person from Ethiopia that I can remember off the top of my head that told me that.
Maybe.
Well,
I cannot.
So what I'm hearing is stay away from the west side. I need to go holler at the east side and the south side.
Ethiopia is an ancient civilization that has been in touch with Asia through the Indian Ocean. So I cannot tell you it's not true.
I can tell you because I can tell you.
They have a lot of heritage.
I can tell you because I lived there for a year in Ethiopia. Ethiopia has one plant that's called khat, and they chew it. It's less hallucinogenic, but more stimulant. But they also have what's called bhang, B-H-A-N-G, which is the reason, Beast, I was asking, do you know how to spell it? Bhang came from the Indian subcontinent, and it's a highly potent form of cannabis. Okay? Yes. So that's why when you said bongo, I'm wondering like how you spell it, because if you look up B-H-A-N-G, bhang, right, that is in Africa, but it comes from India. But yes, go to the east side of Africa, and you're going to find out more of these things because of the connection with the Indian subcontinent.
B-H-A-N-G, bang.
Yeah, bang, B-H-A-N-g, bang.
All right, go ahead, Mr.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother.
They have the,
you know that's why all those Rastas are over there in Ethiopia, okay?
Mr. I got something.
They have been in touch for thousands of years, even the time of Hammurabi. But what I want to say that, you see, in the Commonwealth countries, we used to have a lot of Indian films. And I remember in some of those Indian films, there's a pot with something inside, and that very big pot, very big one, has like a kettle. It has like a kettle, and they smoke it. I have never found out what. Yes.
Word. My brother.
Young Sipiwe.
There are two types of Indian films.
Oh man, you just made my hair grow like 4 inches.
Which is made like Western films. But there are Indian primitive films that is based on Indian tradition. There you have that big pot where those men with big belly will be smoking it, and it is smoke that comes out of it.
Really? I hate to break all this fun. Great. I'm happy that the show is. We actually going into our final thoughts. I'm happy that we can end the show like this, and I promise, no matter how serious is this guy is just showing his. He looks so happy in that picture, y'all.
I'm just trying to show his credentials, okay?
Yeah, I told you just made my hair grow like 3 inches. I was like, oh my god, yes, yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna put my hand to the sky. Even though I put my wrong hand, this is my left hand, this is my right. My right hand to the sky. That no matter how lighthearted or how tough the topic of the show is, or how different ideas starts chaos on the show, I will promise that coming down to the last 3 minutes of the show, that we will end on a lighthearted type of way, no matter what the topic is. So I will promise you that, because I believe we should all come together at some one common goal, like this right here. So first of all, I'd like to thank my panel. Like, love y'all guys. Y'all just don't know how much I love y'all. Pause. Then what we need you to be more on the show. You kind of like the if this was like a little seesaw, you be that little block in between. But like I said, I always say,
Like, he's just cool and like, bro, man,
yeah,
I'm just here, baby. I feel it. I'm cool with everybody, baby.
right. so
About to
I
go eat
appreciate
me a
Woodard for coming on the
sandwich.
show. So I appreciate Woodard for coming on the show, and he's welcome anytime. But
Always.
I like that with this show, we all come to a solution, even though we come from different avenues, from different ways, but we all come to the final destination point, no matter how we got there, but we get there.
We're proving our point in our discussion.
Right. And we're not diluting the minds out there because, like I said, my goal is to educate those who are not educated on the topics, on the discussions, because they probably never heard what Seepaway, because what they probably heard Seepaway from other people, oh, this guy's is a nut, like what the freak? But then when they actually hear from him, they're like, oh, he makes a lot of sense. I want to go for those impressionable minds out there, to the people that's not up or educated on these things or heard of these things. Now they get to listen to these things and they're like, okay, or like when they hear Mr. O's standpoint and they like, oh, okay, because they probably will think that what Mr. O's thinking, like, yo, what the hell? Because they heard from somebody else, but when they hear it from Mr. O himself, they're like,
he's a professor. He know what he's talking about.
Yeah, he know what he's talking about. And that's the point and goal of this show. Or Beast Johnson would deal with music and then hear his insights like, oh, I heard his music and all that stuff. Now you found out that he's about politics too. He's hip to the game too.
He's an
ladies and gentlemen. Right. and this is why we have the show, and cannot wait for Teach when she comes back, because we still got another 5 more weeks. But other than that, this is a great table to the show. I'm gonna keep preaching that to y'all. We miss you, Cheech. We gonna keep bringing this to the show, and hopefully we can bring more people on this show to give out their views and all that stuff. Which Mr. Open beat me up on it. Mr. O, I promise I'm gonna get more people on here. Seepaway said he got people in line. Beast Johnson got people in line, and I'm telling you, I am working it on my end too. So, any alibis before we go into the final thought?
My final thought is my alibi.
Seepaway?
What do you mean alibi? What I don't get it.
Alibi. I forgot to touch on some points before
okay.
Yeah. That's one thing we said. That's one thing we do in the military. Like after a meeting, the commander's like, all right, do anybody got any alibis? And like, yes, sir, I do.
Okay, now that you mention it, real quick, earlier this week, one of the grassroots groups in our movement filed a lawsuit in the International American Commission for Human Rights, suing the United States government. This is news you probably didn't hear. This is a grassroots organization. They have 150 citizens of their effort. So you might want to look into that. My analysis of it is, unfortunately, even though the United States is a signatory to the Organization of American States and is a signatory to this, it's like a United Nations, but it's just for the American region. Even though they're a signatory to this, they haven't ratified the convention, which would make any of their rulings binding. Now, had America signed that, and this petition got a favorable ruling, then that international law would be binding and supersede American law. But unfortunately, it doesn't. But anyways, this group made this effort, and it's something that, just another sign of the times, showing the mood of the people. There are very serious groups of African American people that are wanting the Brexit move. The name of the organization, it's the Afro Descendant Nation. If you type that in and type in lawsuit, you'll find it. But there are lots of movements out here that are taking action on the very things we're talking about that you never hear about. You didn't see anything, no press releases, CNN. I mean, the fact that 150,000 black people sued the United States in an international regional court, the black press didn't even cover it. So that's my alibi.
Mr. L?
Well, on a cool side, here in the supermarkets here in Buenos Aires, the big supermarkets, when you go in, the only music they play are the black music of the 70s. Look, every time I go in, look, I shake my head when you see those black voices. You see spirituality in that music.
Mr. O, I'm gonna tell you.
See, that wouldn't even work for half us black Americans. We go over there, get to either dancing or start cleaning up, just instinctively just start grabbing brooms. Like, let me help you with that, brother. Why? Because for some reason, every time I hear Frankie Beverly and Maze, I got to sleep. Ain't no picnic table, so I might as well sleep.
I am moved. I am moved really about quality, the spiritual quality in our people. Although corruption has destroyed the whole world, it's no more the same, but they are a good heritage that I think we can still hold on. Oh yeah, even in the radio stations, there are FM radio stations that always produce the music of the 70s and a majority of black music. Yes, they like it a lot here. Yes, that's all I have to say. That I think that black music in the US today has been poisoned, and we need to refloat those days, those music of those days of spirituality.
I'm working on it, brother.
Yes.
So,
I got
any
you, Mr.
alibis, Mr. Woodard, before we head to the final thought? For being our guest?
I'm good right now, man. I was
All right. Once again, hope everybody can join us on Wednesday. If you would, if you want to, if you need to.
Okay.
Is everybody down for Wednesday?
Shift.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right, cool. All right. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I'm kind of slow on my end, but let's get in to our final thought.
My final tonight is, it's been a good week. It's been a good time speaking with you guys, everybody tonight. One thing I want to leave with everyone is stay encouraged. No matter what life brings to you, to make the best of it. Don't let anybody hold you down. Don't let anybody tell you you're not good enough. Always, always do what's best for you, what's best for your community, do best for your family. Think about it. At the end of the day, that's all we got is us and our family. And do what's right for them. Because you never know. Tomorrow's not even a promise to us. So always live your life as this is your last day. And that's what I had for everybody tonight.
Well, my final thought is on the topic we discussed today. The only thing I want to say is that if you want to vote, do not pressure on those who do not want to vote. If you do not want to vote, do not discourage others from voting. It is an individual decision. We are not all bound to agree on everything. But the only thing we can agree on is that we have a people, we have a community, and our community should be represented in all the diversity of ideologies. That is my final thought.
Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundations on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. That is the United States Declaration of Independence. That says that when a government becomes tyrannical and has a train of abuses, such as police brutality, shooting unarmed members of our community and violating their human rights, the 250 plus years of enslavement. It says that when a government has a long train of abuses, it is the right of the people to alter, abolish, or institute new government. We need to seriously continue to discuss the third option of instituting new government. It is our right. It is the American way. And at this time in history, America is divided and weak. It is the most divided and weak that it has ever been. If ever there was a time for Black people to strike out against its colonizers and the criminals who kidnapped our ancestors and whose legacy of slavery continues to this day, if ever there was a moment in the last 80 years or since Reconstruction, now is the time for us to not be individuals, but to act in a collective manner for our future collective well-being. Voting is not an individual choice. If we're going to talk about we are a nation of people, then we have to subsume or suppress our individuality for the good and the benefit of the collective. And our choice is not between voting for a Republican or a Democrat. Our options include instituting new government. That's my final thought.
And then it's on to me. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning into the show. Once again, tell your mama, tell your daddy, tell your cousin, tell your best friend about this show. From the baseline, from our intro, to our discussions, to our final thoughts. If this show don't have you thinking like, man, did he just say, yo, was he right? Was she? We done our job. We're now, rather than just going to Google and just searching anything, now you know what to search. You know what to look forward to. You know when you go to your Facebook and you see everybody with these discrediting posts and all that stuff, and you know that it's wrong, you know how to do your research. I'm not saying that you should start a Facebook beef, Mr. O, and when we do our Facebook, talks and all that stuff, it's all love. But we done our job. And that's what we're going to continue doing. Like I said, we're not the mainstream. And we're definitely not these other shows that just doing it for clout. Or just saying, oh, we're popular. Which I'm not here to toot our horn, but toot. We've been getting views over 260 views every show. Which tells us with our growing numbers And then also our people following us, our numbers are growing there. Our likes are growing. We're not just doing this just for the fame and going viral and all that stuff. No, we're here to inform our people and people outside of our people. This is why I created this platform. This is why I got the panel that I have from different walks of life, giving their views, telling you how they see it from their point of view. And many of y'all, maybe even half of y'all, don't like it, but guess what? Y'all still tune in to hear what we got to say. We're not here making a point, we're proving a point. And we're going to continue to keep proving that point. This is not no debate show. This is not no conversation show. This is a dialogue that gets to the solutions. Like I said, we're on the same sheet of music, but we all playing different instruments. This is what this show is all about. And for those who've been rocking with us, McCary, we thank you. We thank you for the bottom of our hearts. Keep supporting us. Support us buying merch. Support us by sending a donation. And most of all, support us by tuning in and letting your friends know about the show and when we're on. Once again, I want to send my thank yous, not only just you to the viewers, also to my panel. This show wouldn't be nothing, mainly without them, but also without you, the viewer, the audience, the fan, whatever you want to call yourselves. I just like to call y'all the movement. I yield the floor.
Well, I'm not here to sum things up. I'm here to declare, once again, a good old-fashioned warning. Or pose a question. Are you willing to die for anything? Or are you willing to stand up for something? Allowing any and everything has turned our society to, let's just say, a lot of biblical comparisons. We are at the precipice of another civil war if we do not stop with this division. If we continue allowing labels and self-imposed titles to dictate our self-worth and our actual intelligence and character, then we will only allow ourselves to go down and repeat the same paths of our ancestors. So unless you're willing to kill your best friend or shoot your mama, I would advise that we do like the Beatles and come together. Because if we continue down this divisive path, you are going to be surprised who you are going to be forced to disassociate yourself with due to the labels and the titles and the views that you hold on to and cherish more than anything else in life. So unless you're willing to do that, put all that bullshit to the side. Fuck being a Republican, fuck being progressive, fuck all that political bullshit. If you have the power, as the people, come together as the people. And let's fix our country as the people. Now put it in the hands of somebody else and hope they'll do it. Everybody get off your ass and get your fucking hands dirty. Your house ain't gonna clean itself unless you pick up a broom. No matter how many people in there with you. With that, I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Hope you enjoy your evenings. Be safe and be blessed. Yeah, have a good one.
And that would do it for us, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back here on Wednesday, which I am going to change the time. Over here is 4:30. On the East Coast is 7:30. I'll be pushing that time up to 8 o'clock. So apologies about that. So time adjustment. So it's going to be 5 on my end. It's going to be 8 o'clock East Coast time. Everybody in between, get in where you fit in. But it's been another great show. Once again, thank you so very, very, very much to my panel. Thank you, the audience, for tuning in.
Thank you.
So I'm taking that everybody's going to be here for Wednesday. Hopefully, Teach. Fingers crossed that she could tune to the show, because I think we do need a female to step in. And if she not able to, I'm gonna find somebody to come in, because we need some females up in here. We need some, a lady's touch.
I have been told that by a couple of viewers that I know of, like, y'all need to bring Teeth back. Y'all too much testosterone. Y'all boys keep getting too aggressive on this.
She's very, I tell her this, she's very popular on the show, because I do have people over here that be like, when's Teach gonna come back on? I'm like, she's working now. I'm sorry, she's working for the Sisters Place. I'm sorry. But then I gotta go ahead and let y'all go.
Say Morris.
Yes,
hey,
what?
Wait, do you remember this right here?
The old Final Thought theme. I would go ahead and that is Eric Clapton's Change the World.
Yeah.
And that's where the Final Thought came in. I was like, we need okay, so me and Woodard, I'm gonna say this real quick story, and then I'm gonna go ahead and let everybody go. So real quick story. So me and Woodard, we did our very popular show live from Iraq. And I was like, man, we gotta do our Final Thought, but I need a good theme to go with it. And next thing you know, he just randomly plays this song. I said, that's it. And he was like, what? I'm like, that's it. We need to play that song. So every time when we have the Final Thought, that song will be playing. And I used it ever since, even though I'm not using it now, but then I would use like the instrumental. So, you already know this problem, Beast. You go get kicked off because of copyright. So it was always a theme, and it always worked out perfectly because the song is Change the World. So, little fun fact. But other than that, I gotta let y'all go. I gotta go. First of all, thank you to Too Smooth with it. Hopefully you change your title next time. So for our guest, Too Smooth Jason Woodard, to Seep Away, to Mr. O, and to Beast Johnson, and me, your host, Donnell Alamonte Morris. Thank y'all for tuning in to another great edition of #Fade to Black. Y'all keep it safe. Y'all keep it tight. And once again, there's a disease out there. Please wear a mask. Stay safe, y'all. Even if y'all think it's a conspiracy, please stay safe. Thank y'all. Y'all have a good one. Mr. Ross, see you on Facebook. Keep putting those posts up. Put high. I'll bet y'all later.
Okay.